I just completely shot this video and I just didn't like how it turned out or how I went across all this stuff. So I'm reshooting it right now, and yeah, got edited today and then uploaded tonight, and it comes out tomorrow. So that should be fun. But anyways, let's get started. So, I want to talk about what are the painful things with this lifestyle. Some of the real pains, the things that might get to you if you are living in a truck camper or a van. This is mostly going to be focused on truck campers and how I deal with stuff. So, let's talk about it. So number one is going to be electricity. Electricity is a lot different in an RV than in, let's say, a traditional house. Not that it works any different, but the fact that you have to actually know where it's coming from and know how to get it. So if you have solar on the roof, you're going to get it from your solar panels. More on that in a little bit. If you have a shore power plug, which I recommend everyone has, you can get it from just an outlet or a generator, something like that, and that's the easier way. Now, if you're in a house, obviously it just comes out of the wall basically. You pay a bill every month and you got your electricity, you got your water, you're good. But in an RV, it's definitely different. My power comes from 3 different sources. Number 1 would be solar. Number 2 would be the DC-DC charger that is basically using the truck as a generator. And number 3 is an actual generator that I plug into my shore power. All these things don't rely on me being connected to the grid. Having these systems that keep me from being connected to the grid allows me to travel around and basically charge anywhere I want, really. During the summer though, solar is my primary charging. During the winter, I'd have to say it would be the generator. That's the quickest way I can charge up my battery system, and it's probably the most efficient way. The DC-DC charger is a nice to have, but honestly, unless you're driving for a 12-hour day or something, it's not going to charge you up enough. Especially if you've been parked up for a while in one spot, which I like to do. I do like to park up and be able to do some work, get some stuff done. So I do see myself use a lot of power in that time, and then being able to just throw the generator out, charge up the system, makes life really easy. Your other way you could do it is you could go to a campground or find a plug-in somewhere and just plug in. That would be the same as using a generator, except you don't have something loud going. So the next thing to talk about is water, and primarily during the winter. In the summer, it's pretty easy to find water. There's lots of taps around that you can get free water at. It's pretty simple. And sometimes you do have to pay, but usually it's like $5 to $10. Now, during the winter is a little bit harder, and I make that on myself. I run water year-round in my truck camper. The reason I do that is because it is a 4 seasons truck camper, and I'm able to. It costs more, but the convenience is nice for me. So I have to find water in the winter in Alberta, British Columbia. Basically all over Canada will be the same. A lot of places won't have their outside taps on anymore, so you either have to go in and ask, hey, do you have water or a water hookup, or is your tap on? And they'll either say no, but I can turn it on for you if you need to, or yes, we have water. And I mean, I made it through all last winter, and so far this winter I've been pretty lucky and been able to find water everywhere, so it hasn't been too bad. Now the other way to do that would be just to have water jugs and basically go into a grocery store, get water, or go to an inside tap and get water. My other go-to would have to be like go to a car wash, and usually they will have potable water somewhere hooked up inside, and you might be able to ask them for some water there. They might be more likely to have some and be able to sell you some. That's the other thing. A lot of times in winter, you're probably going to be paying for water. I guess to add to that, dump stations can be hard too to find. Believe it or not, most don't get locked up in the winter. They either get frozen over. But there's enough people doing this lifestyle in Canada that usually there is a dump station available somewhere. And we, the RV community, have been upkeeping it for the winter. So, yeah, it's interesting. If I could find dump stations in my small town, Whitecourt, Alberta, when I was living there, I'm sure you can find them anywhere. Except Calgary. Calgary's very hard to find dump stations. Calgary, get some more dump stations. You only have 2. Now, I'll be honest, I don't have problems with this one as much as I thought I would. And that would have to be finding places to sleep. For the most part, I have no shame. I'll just go to a dirty old Walmart and stay the night there. But as for like side streets and stuff, I think I'm more reluctant to go to them. I don't like being parked on the street just because my home's that close to traffic going by, and all it takes is one drunk driver just to smash into the back, or someone just not paying attention. And yeah, that's not fun. So I like to come to parking lots and stuff like that. If there's a Walmart and it doesn't have any no camping signs, I will just go and stay there. As for if I'm out of town or something, yeah, if it's pretty slim pickings at a place, then I might park on a side street, or I'll check apps like iOverlander and see if I can find something on there. But for the most part, you can find places. I don't worry about getting towed or a ticket really, because I just follow the rules of, like, if there's a no parking sign, don't park there. If there's a sign saying parking from this time to this time, park in between that timing. If it's not in between that timing, you're probably going to end up with a ticket. Do I worry about getting towed or anything? No. First of all, this truck is way too heavy for any normal tow truck to actually pick it up. Not to mention, if they try to put it on a flatbed, they'd be too tall to go anywhere. And then the other fact too is you almost need a heavy wrecker just to haul this thing. So I don't really worry about that with this. Not saying it's impossible to tow. It's just it takes more than just your normal tow truck. And also, that's a pretty extreme case. Most of the time, they're going to come knock on your door first and tell you to move. And if you don't move, then that's like step 2 is you're going to get towed. I think that brings me to my other thing too. Like, this is all dependent on where you live. If you're living in somewhere like Squamish, yeah, you're going to have a hard time trying to find anywhere to park. If you're living in like a ski town, yeah, you're going to have a hard time trying to find anywhere to park overnight. If you're living in small town Alberta, you're probably not going to have a hard time. Other than small towns do talk. So you might be the talk of the town, but odds are no one's really going to care what you're doing. Now, if you're in somewhere like Calgary, like I am right now. Yeah, I'm back in Calgary. There's a story behind that. I forgot to get my registration done for the year, and I needed to be back in Alberta to do that, so I thought I'd come back here, resupply, and then, yeah, fun. It's a bit more fuel than I wanted to use, but here we are. Parking in Calgary, it's pretty easy. There's 12 Walmarts for parking lot wise. As for like street parking, I don't think there's even like close to a shortage of that here. So really easy city. There is more difficult cities. I've heard Vancouver and Victoria are a lot more difficult for finding street parking or anything like that, or places to park for the night. But yes, any resort town, you're gonna have an issue trying to find places to park for the night. And that's because they're so used to this lifestyle. They're so used to people coming there and doing this, because let's face it, when we live in our vehicles like this, the idea with it is because we want to be somewhere beautiful, right? At least that's why I'm in it. So that's my experience with that. So this next one's going to be a little bit more controversial. I'm sure you've heard the saying, RVs are junk. I'm going to argue that a little bit. I'm not going to say that all RVs are built really well, because that would be a lie. But not all houses are built really well either, right? So I will say that some RVs are built better. Northern Light, I've always thought had a really quality build. Bigfoot, Arctic Fox, like Northwood products. I've been in those and I've been like, this is pretty solid in here. There's more out there. I'm not going to start listing off the entire list of every truck camper make in the world that I think has a good build, or any that I haven't ever been in. So take that with a grain of salt and have your own judgment when you go look at an RV. But something to argue is your RV is going through an earthquake every time you're moving. Your house doesn't do that. I've done renovations on houses. I've seen some of the materials that you put in there, and trust me, they're not all built to last. The fact that you can get like 20 years out of IKEA cabinets in your house compared to 20 years out of RV cabinets, which these are actually real wood, so they're actually really good cabinets, but they do have their flaws. They tend to shake apart a little bit. So what I mean by that is usually like stuff like the screws in these hinges. Like I've had so many that I've just had to retighten, and it's just because they're quite literally just kind of shaking down the road all the time, and you end up needing to retighten them. And I can't flaw it. It's 20 years old. And I'd almost guarantee a new one would do the same thing. I can't flaw it for that. What I can say though is once you're full-time living in it, it is now moving constantly like this, and no manufacturer ever built these with the idea that someone was actually going to live in it. By the way, anyone living in a van with a custom build, I can almost guarantee you're probably going to still have issues too after 20 years of that build. Like, it's just a given. So yes, a truck camper or any style of like RV or anything is going to have a harder time staying in one piece going down roads when you're full-time living in it. And that's just because you're using it more. And that goes for the same with the truck. The truck is going to have issues too. The truck is going to be driven a lot longer and a lot more than you would usually use it if you had just a normal house. So that's something to think about also. And then the extra fact that there's now constant weight on that truck its entire life. That's why a lot of people go to like a 5500 pickup or even bigger trucks, because they're even more heavy duty than something like a 3500 Dodge or whatever. I thought I would come outside for a minute. So I think my next thing to talk about here would be something, well, getting outside. Living in here and being inside all the time can make you feel a little bit claustrophobic. Also having a messy space. Keeping the inside of your truck camper or just your tiny home really clean really helps with just keeping things a lot more organized, and it helps with you mentally too. It makes your space feel bigger and not so claustrophobic. Being claustrophobic inside your space can also make you feel lonely. So that's a whole nother thing too. You don't want to start feeling lonely doing this lifestyle. That can make this lifestyle a real drag. And usually when you start getting lonely, you should go talk to someone and actually just go hang out with a friend, talk to your family, like stay in touch with people. That's the easiest way to battle loneliness, I feel like. Being bored and in this lifestyle can make this space feel very, very, very small, very quick. What I do to battle that is I just go outside, I go hang out with people, I call a friend, anything like that. Clean the space, work on a project, and just go outside and do something. That's the easiest way. Definitely don't look at your phone and start doom scrolling or anything like that. That does not help at all. And that brings me to my next topic. Having a routine. Man, that can be difficult with this lifestyle. It's possible though. If you are someone and you are living in a small town or city or anything like that, like, a routine's easy. I did it. I was working a full-time job. I lived in a small town, and my day went like this. Woke up at 4 a.m., went to the gym, went to work after that. After that, drove down to basically the park, got outside, went for a walk, and then to end my night, I'd usually go park up where I'm going to sleep for the night and just hang out in the camper for the rest of the night, and then go to bed, do it all over again. Had a routine. If I was hanging out with friends, I'd throw that in there too. Like, where it gets hard is when you don't have one location that you're staying at anymore. So right now I'm in Calgary, and trying to have a routine here is a bit more difficult. I do try to go to the gym every day while I'm here, just because I try to take advantage of that anytime that I have a gym near me. When I'm in some small town like Fernie and I don't have my gym there, then I can't really go to my gym. I can go to other gyms, but I don't know, you kind of lose that routine with that, because then you're going to a new gym every time, or you're looking for a new gym. That can be hard about this. I can't deny that. Definitely, you're constantly changing your scenery for places. Luckily, I kind of thrive with that. I'm okay with that, but it is hard. It is, even for me, it's still hard. Like, definitely taking the hit a bit from not being able to work out all the time. That's a bit to me. Yeah, you can do at-home routines, but those are, it's not the same. If you're an avid gym goer and you go every single day, going to a gym is a lot better than trying to do some at-home workout in a truck camper. That being said, though, I do try to find other aspects of physical activity or go for more walks, and that seems to be the best bet for this lifestyle. When you're not able to go to a gym every time or keep up a solid routine like that, you kind of just have to accept the chaos and embrace it a little bit. And the last thing I want to talk about is cost. While this lifestyle is cheaper than most cases living in a house or anything like that, there is some things that are going to be more expensive now. For one, fuel. You're going to use your vehicle a lot more, so you're going to burn a lot more fuel. And that can be a little bit unexpected. So another thing too is like food. If you're in one place and you know which grocery stores are good, which grocery stores have the sales go on, and you kind of know where to go to get cheaper stuff, you're going to thrive if you're in one spot. If you're traveling around lots and you don't always get the luxury to know which grocery stores are cheaper, or you're not in a big city and you have to go to the small town with one grocery store and they know it, then yeah, you're gonna pay a lot more for groceries. So that's another case too. Like, definitely food prices are not the same everywhere. Some places will have cheaper pork, some places will have cheaper beef, chicken, whatever. Like, just certain things are just cheaper. The other thing is propane. Everything runs off propane in here. I go through propane quite often. Usually in the winter when it's really cold out, I'll go through about a tank every 2 days. So for what it's worth, if you are in one place, you'll know where to get cheaper propane. Especially if you're in a city with a Costco, then you're probably getting the cheapest propane. That's something I've found, is if I'm able to go to a city and go to a Costco and get propane, that's what I'll do. But if I'm out and about, I usually have to do some research and try to find out which place has the cheapest propane and which ones actually fill the propane tank and charge you per liter of propane, not just for a barbecue tank of propane. Because that can get really expensive. That is like your last resort. The exchange program is absolute last resort. That is such a ripoff. The next one would be them just filling the tank and charging you for a 20-pound, no matter how much is in the tank. Then yeah, I would call that robbery too. but the best is when they actually charge you per liter. The only places I know in Canada that actually charge you per liter are the smaller rental businesses. Usually have some sort of propane per liter or something like that. Like some like small town, like little businesses or something, they'll actually charge you per liter. And then Co-op actually charges you per liter as well. Their price fluctuates. I've seen it at $1.10. I've seen it at $1.60. It can get a little crazy with that. So you got to check what their price is on propane. But the absolute cheapest place to get propane is Costco, hands down, all the time. 89 cents per liter. You can't go wrong with that. Absolutely love it. That's my little thing there. So yeah, like all this stuff, it's not to scare you about this lifestyle. It's to make you more aware of what to expect when getting into it. And by all means, this is still cheaper for me than going and renting a place. And also, if you're someone and you just want to be able to have the freedom to go wherever you want and go hang out places and just, it fits your lifestyle. You have an adventurous lifestyle and you want to be out and about enjoying this beautiful country and seeing the landscapes and everything, then yes, this lifestyle is worth it. Absolutely. Yes, you're gonna have some really crappy days, but man, you're gonna have some good ones. And with that being said, I really hope you all enjoyed this video. And I really hope it helped some of you out there. And if it did, maybe just consider going down there and hitting that subscribe button. And while you're down there, smash that like button. So with that being said, I can't wait to take you guys with me on the next one. Later.